I've been using Pro Tools since they were DigiDesign. Over the years, since 2001, I think is when it was. I had gotten a Digi 001 system, a G4 Macintosh, if you guys remember any of that. Yeah, and I basically, I was going to the studio and I would block out, overnight time because I didn't have enough money to actually pay for the daytime. So I would block out from, 10 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock the next morning. Or if I was trying to get something done, I'd have to block out daytime hours. And that was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. I mean, I paid it, but it was still a lot of money. And so what Pro Tools allowed me to do, it allowed me to do all my prep work in my own studio and not just MIDI. I was able to do MIDI. I was able to do audio so that the engineer could actually mix what I was doing. And so for all those who say Pro Tools is not the industry standard anymore, you can say that for you. But for me, sure, it's expensive. I don't care, but it has saved me so much money over the years. I didn't have to go to somebody's studio or a large-scale studio to do anything. I mean, other than mix, but I wasn't even in charge of the mixing then. I would just do the production and turn over the production for the mix. And it saved me so much money. Yeah, I'll pay that subscription fee. For the money it saved me and the money it made me, I hadn't lost anything. I hadn't lost anything. And so people will always say, oh, this has changed or that's changed. Pro Tools is adding this and they did that and they're making you pay more here and making you pay more there. Well, man, listen, you're using the service. If you're using Pro Tools, you're using the service. How are they supposed to continue to bring you new product? If you don't want to pay for it, that's fine. But how are they supposed to bring you new product? And they have to change to actually make money. They can't just give the product away or make it once and charge you once. And then you just sit there and, use that version forever and they update whenever you get ready. And they're supposed to support it and everything else. Man, that costs money to have people on the phones, having people ready to show you how to do those things and to run a business. How are they supposed to run a business on free? They have to keep charging in some kind of way. They have to. See, listen, I run a business and I understand that you have to have money coming in order to keep operating. And if they're providing a service, they have to continue to charge. They have to continue to charge. That doesn't make any sense for me to think that Pro Tools, I bought Pro Tools in 2001. I'm going to keep updating all the way up to 2024, 2025, and they not charge me anything. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. If you don't like Pro Tools, you don't like their way of operating the business, fine, quit. But at the same time, there are a certain group of people who actually understand what's being done. I understand them. They can't be industry standard and not charge. They can't be industry standard and not update. Well, some people say, well, other programs were doing a whole lot more than what Pro Tools is just now catching up to. You were free to use those programs. A wave's a wave. An AIFF is an AIFF. I mean, you can take it from one platform to the next. But when it's all said and done, until something major happens, Pro Tools is going to be there till the wheels roll off. And us posting things about Pro Tools we hate and this, that, and other, and we don't like this and we don't like that. Sure, you can grieve and tell them or tell them your grievances and your problems. And if they take it into consideration, fine. If they don't, still fine. You can still use something else. But when it's all said and done, you're going to come back to the Pro Tools. Somebody's going to use the Pro Tools. Somebody's going to use it. And I'm not here. They're not paying me to do anything. They're not paying me to say anything. I've invested buku money into Pro Tools. I've invested buku money into Pro Tools. Not as much as a lot of others. You know, my first HD system was, I think it was 11,000 or something like that. And I still use it to this day. I record drums and choirs on it for the updated stuff, for the MIDI stuff, and all of that. Yeah, I have a separate studio for that. But when I need to record live drums, organ, piano, choirs, vocalist, I'm using the HD system. So what I spent years ago, I'm still using it. Matter of fact, I still have a Digi 001 system. I don't know where I got it from. Somebody gave it to me or something. I got the computer. I set it up. It still works. Matter of fact, it loads faster than all the new stuff. It only takes 15 seconds to load. And I mean, it loads everything. So, yeah, Pro Tools has been good to me. I appreciate whoever is in charge there or whoever purchased it from DigiDesign and they're still running it. That's fine. I love it. It works for me. Now, if it doesn't work for you, that's fine. But it's not really fair to say that they're not the industry standard when they actually are. Now, a lot of these other platforms might be the home studio standard. That's what they might be. But they still sound good. Like, I like Live. Live sounds great. Fruity Loop sounds great. The one that everybody's really sleeping on is that Harrison mix bus. That Harrison mix bus is right. It is right all over. The world is right. So there's other ways you can do it, other things you can do, but the standard, Pro Tools, man, Pro Tools. Now, I'm sure they'll scale certain things down or they'll update certain things and make it better to where maybe we don't need DSP anymore or whatever. But I don't even use DSP at home. In my home studio, I don't use DSP. It works just fine. And when I hook up the HD system at the other studio, it works just import. Everything's just fine. It just works. It just works. No hiccups, no nothing. And people are talking about they were having problems with Pro Tools in the first. I never had a problem with Pro Tools. Even when I did PC, I called Dell and told them to send me a PC matching the specs of what Pro Tools says on, what was it, a Mixbox or Inbox is what it was. Whatever their specifications were, they made the computer, sent it to me. I plugged it in and I was recording the same day. No problems out of Pro Tools. I don't know what other people are talking about. And it might be legit about what they're saying, but I don't believe it. For me, Pro Tools has been the number one piece for me. I don't worry about it. Matter of fact, I've had people come to use my rig, and so all they had to do was plug in their hard drive, and then we were recording. We were done. Period. Matter of fact, I would record stuff on HD, save it on a diskette, or not a diskette, hard drive, a solid state hard drive for people, and they just take it and plug it into their system, pull it up. Pro Tools is good. Now, does it get expensive? Yeah, but everything else is too. You get gas every week. What's the problem? That's the subscription. If you're going to drive, you just got to subscribe to the gas. You know, if you're going to have electricity, you got to subscribe to that. What's the difference? To the studio, Pro Tools is like electricity. Pro Tools is like gas. Pro Tools is like the air conditioning, the heat. It is. And if you don't want to pay it, don't pay it. If you can't pay it, then don't pay it. But at the same time, don't complain. Move on and don't complain. It's like people are trying to take people with them. I'm leaving, so I'm going to take other people with me. Yeah, a lot of people lost that fight. You go ahead. You go ahead and try it. It ain't going to work. It's not going to work. Some people say, well, it worked on Waves. Waves is still running, and you're still buying. I get tired of people complaining about everything. Everybody complaining about this. They got that problem with this, and they got a problem with that. And everybody's got a problem with everything. We are just people who love to record, who love to do music, and who love to work. We enjoy it all. So sure, you can complain within yourself, but why would you complain online? Maybe you're just trying to change something. Or people say, well, I've contacted them and they're not responding, or I contact them and they did this and they changed something else. It's not your company. It's not your company. You're just like everybody else. We want to utilize Pro Tools and make Pro Tools do what we want it to do. You know, Pro Tools is not Burger King. You can't have it your way. You can't. They work within their means of what they need to do to make their money. If they don't make money, none of us will have Pro Tools. Could they change? Could they say, we're going to change up this way. We're going to do it this way. Sure, they can. If it don't work, it won't work. But that's them as a company. They will have to find that out. But for us to always be complaining about everything, I mean, everybody's always complaining about something. And they don't have to. They really don't. And so Pro Tools has actually helped me to do not only production for my music and things like that, or music for other people, but it's actually helped me to do music for our podcast, for our church. And it sounds great. It sounds great. And I pay my subscription once a year. Now, you can pay it once a month or every month or whatever you want to do. If you're not using it, just pay it for the time that you're using it. Be done with it. Quit complaining about everything. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear all that complaining. We're living in a day and time now where nobody feels like I can't take no more complaining. Just calm down. If you don't want to use Pro Tools, then don't use it. But at the same time, there are a number of people who appreciate what Avid is doing. There are a lot of people who appreciate what Avid is doing. Because I remember going to the studio 10, 11 o'clock at night, and the ADATs have to be rebooted. Them blackface ADATs, they had to be rebooted. And then once they reboot, they might not come back. And so now you got to wait a whole nother 2 hours before you can get anything done, because the engineer is trying to figure out why the ADAT's not rebooting. So they came in at the right time. They came at the right time. It was already digital tape, and so they brought it all the way to the hard drive. I thank God for them. So those of you who are complaining, you sound like you're mad. You might not feel like you're mad. You might not feel like it's coming across like that, but that's how it's coming across. Like you mad about something. And you don't have to be. You don't have to be. All you have to do is not use it. But don't sit there and complain about it, because those who are into Pro Tools, and I'm not worshiping Pro Tools. I mean, I bought in full-fledged. When I got my little awards and stuff like that for music being done in a closet because of Pro Tools, people are asking me, did you guys record that? Did you guys record that in LA, or did you record that in Atlanta? Did you record that in New York? I was like, man, Oakland Park, Columbus, Ohio. That's where we recorded all of that stuff. Or in my house, or my little home studio I had. That's what we did, and was glad about it. And so now that you have all these other applications with computers that can handle everything, and you no longer need DSP, now you got a problem. So they're supposed to turn their whole entire company around, their model. They're supposed to turn their model around because there's new computers, or there are other apps that can handle it without DSP. No, they're not going to do that. There's a reason why they're called Pro Tools. There's a reason why it's called Pro Tools. And if you don't like it, you just don't like it. But don't complain about it, because nobody wants to hear you complain. And I know it's a lot of you are just doing it just for the clicks and all of that stuff, and trying to get people to like what you're doing, and they already like what you're doing, or you're trying to get some more YouTube money or something like that. That's fine. It just sounds like you're complaining is what it does. And I guarantee you, Avid, they listen, but they can't do all the changes that everybody wants. It's called Avid. It's called Pro Tools. It's not called your company. Your company runs the way it runs. And if you run a company, you understand that you can't run someone else's company. Trust me, the money that we're paying for Pro Tools, I'm sure that don't cover the work and the cost that they have. I'm sure it doesn't, because it's a service. Think about it. You've been using Logic, you've been using all these other apps, and you ain't been paying. How long do you think that's going to last? It's not going to last long. It feels good. Oh, I got this and I don't have to pay. I can just upgrade whenever I get ready. Well, I put it like this. If you bought a car like that, you wouldn't be driving long. You bought the car and you don't want to do any upgrades. You don't pay for any upgrades. You don't pay for any oil changes. You just want the company that sold you the car to do it for free for you, give you new tires. Yeah, amen. It's the reason why Avid is Avid and you are you. Pro Tools is Pro Tools and I am who I am. All you got to do is not use it or use it. All this complaining that people are putting online makes no sense at all. And somebody will say, aren't you complaining? I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you the truth of it. Your company's not going to last long if you don't charge people money. If you don't have income, it's not going to last long. It's not like those that DSP stuff that they're using, costs $2 and then they're charging you $5,000. I'm sure somebody's charging them a bunch of money for all those what are those things called? Chips and things. I'm sure people are charging them money for that because there are companies that are in charge of that charge them, that they hire to do that for them. So in order for them to hire people, the best, in order for them to hire the best, the pros, if they're going to hire the pros, they got to charge money. We live in a day and time where people want something for nothing anyway. Okay, you let those producers talk about somebody buying their music and not paying them for it every time they play it on the radio. Then they'll have a problem. Yeah, they'll. That's a subscription. Every time they play something on the radio or on television or really on the internet, somebody has to pay for that music. Now, so those same producers who got a problem with Pro Tools, you let them sit there and say, somebody bought this music from me, or I produced this music and they paid me once, but they're not paying me now because it's being it's in a movie, it's on a TV show. Yeah, that they'll think that song and dance will change. You have to keep charging in order to keep going. I'm just a practical guy, man. I don't pull no punches. I don't play no games, man. If the people are giving you a service, okay, here you go. School, right? If you go to school and the teachers don't get paid, what happens to the students? If the school doesn't have enough money to pay all the bills, there's going to be a problem. It's the same thing with your doll. If your doll doesn't have money to pay all its bills, your doll won't be your doll. What happens when the computers change and your doll no longer works in the new computer? Avid has to make arrangements for that. They actually have to fix and redesign and do whatever so that it works with the new computers, even though that might not be now. But every week, every day they have somebody working on that, whether it's for 10 years from now or whatever. What I'm saying is it's a cost for us to be producers, and it's a cost for us to be recording engineers, mastering engineers. It's a cost for that. And to sit there and talk about, well, Pro Tools is not the studio standard now. Yeah, that's a lie. That's been a lie. They've been a standard. We just, not me, but other people have tried other things. They've tried other things and mad about the whole thing of you got to pay now. And you got to be connected to the internet. And if you're not connected to the internet in some kind of way, your Wi-Fi goes out, now you're hit. Well, put your phone on Wi-Fi as a hotspot. You'll be all right. Make your phone a hotspot and you'll be fine. But again, let's not complain. Let's just be grateful that we have a service like that. And maybe there'll be another service that'll come up that'll supersede Pro Tools or Avid or something like that. Fine. Great. Be thankful for that too. But don't sit on the internet and complain. It just, especially for clicks, it really don't work like that. I mean, it's not good. It really isn't. So I'm signing off. But don't complain. Don't sit around complaining about everything. It's a waste of time. Nobody wants to hear that. Either use Avid or don't use Avid. Either use Cubase or don't use Cubase. Either use Logic or don't use Logic. But don't sit there and complain. Makes no sense. Companies have to do what they have to do in order to survive. And COVID told all of us how to look at this thing. Yeah, it showed us how to look at the whole thing. Anything could be here today and gone tomorrow. Anything. So, it's just what it is, man. Don't complain.